Hey folks, how you doing out there? Hey, you happening crowd? I know you're happening out there. I can see you out there. Let me put my mirror on you. Let's go, just like we normally do. I got a wrench in the works. My gosh, it's once again it's off night, folks. It's off night. You're here on a great night. You're gonna enjoy it. It's all the way from the sunny shores of beautiful, somewhere around Livonia. But anyway, you're gonna enjoy the night. We got a lot of good guests. And of course, you got your MC and your host for the evening, Mr. Mark Sweetman.
Hey, how you doing, Andy?
Good music, man. Really enjoy it.
Isn't that great? I mean, eventually somebody's going to tell me to stop playing it because it's not mine. It's Henry Mancini and
okay.
a tune that he wrote for the original Pink Panther with David Niven. You know, the original one.
Oh yes. I remember that one.
It's called Tiber
Robert Wagner, another guy from Detroit.
You're right. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Hey, it's movie night, man.
Yeah. It's anyway, it's an old album I had from when I was a kid. When I was the geek kid who bought the soundtrack albums.
Exactly. You know? Well, confession too. That's the only way I've gotten any music in my life was soundtracks, man.
Yeah. And how many of us of our generation learned our classical music from Bugs Bunny and Looney Tunes?
Oh yeah. Oh, it's very good. Broomhilda. Oh yeah.
Kill the wabbit.
Wabbit. I'm very tired. Can we get some meatball now?
Okay. So anyway, I want to bring everybody in. Again, by the way, let me get let me see if I got this here. Okay, there's our address on YouTube.
Ooh.
What I've done now is, because here's why I did this. I used to do it at Facebook and share that to YouTube. But what I found out is if you get so many viewers on YouTube, eventually you can monetize that. Facebook doesn't allow you to monetize it. So that'd be a way for us to get advertisers and things like that. Now, Right now, we're getting like one viewer a week, sometimes two. So there's no advertising in that, but I'm trying to be prepared for that eventuality.
Well, they're out there.
That's our YouTube. Here's my little banner for when we get everyone out here. That's who's on the show tonight. There's me and you and Kathy and Sam, our regulars, and then I got this little hot one. Look at that. That's the address where you go to, and then you'll appear on my little dashboard. I don't think you guys will see it, but on my dashboard, I'll see people come in on that. And then, we can talk about them before we bring them on.
Our viewers are kind of like the X-Files, We know they're out there. They're out there somewhere, There we go.
Exactly. And here's my generic title for our show. A lively look at people, places, and events in and around the comedy scene. Kind of generic there. Maybe something later. Anyway, I'm going to put the address back on. Join us if you can. But I'm going to bring everybody else out with us. Here's my old friend from, I think of the first time I worked with him. I think it was 86. So what's that? 35 years? I don't know. 86. Yeah, that'd be 35 years. 35 years I've known this man. Sam Greenfield. Yeah. And I've known you. How long have I known you, Andy? Since when?
Oh, gosh, I think it was had to be like the late 80s, 88, around.
Okay, so I've known Sam longer than I've known you then, because it was Joey. I met you in Joey's cable show.
Oh yeah, Joey's cable show. Joey had the two clubs going.
Yeah. You know what Joey's doing now?
Yeah, I knew he was a pilot, but I think he's retired now, isn't he?
No, I think he's still flying. He's a pilot. Joe Allison. Sam, did you ever work with Joe Allison?
No.
Yeah, he's one of those guys who did comedy until he got his dream job of being an airline pilot. He flies for
good for him,
and he's almost there because he flies for Spirit. So he's almost achieved his goal.
He's almost an airline pilot.
Almost an airline pilot.
Well, yeah,
but it was.
You got to give the guy a bunch of credit because he opened two clubs.
He did.
And he kept a lot of comics going, and it's like
Joey's in Detroit, the Joey's clubs.
Yeah, It was just, yeah. I think did he have 3 at one time? Then went down to just
They
one.
had 5 at one time. They had Dearborn,
Wow.
they had Canton, they had one in Chicago.
Yeah.
I think they
Yeah,
put one in East downtown. Sam, did you ever work for Joey's in Detroit?
No.
Okay, but this is the same Joe, the guy that he was a comic, opened clubs. He made a lot of money because he wanted to be an airline pilot, and he was the only guy that we ever said after I got off one of his flights, I said, "Don't quit your night job." Anyway, we choose him a lot because he flies for Spirit, but I'm sure he's a good pilot. He's still working. You never hear about Spirit crashing. You just hear about how lousy their luggage service is.
Yeah.
Anyway, coming to us from formerly our Florida correspondent. I'm still looking for somebody, but here's Kathy Ryan. Are you back in Detroit now, Kathy?
I am. Cold here, people.
Oh, come on. This is the best weather we've had all year.
We're
Oh,
getting some snow.
You were so
tonight.
spoiled.
You
You were so
Floridians?
spoiled.
I know. I'll admit it. I was.
If it was 68 degrees, you'd be going, Jesus, I'm freezing.
I know it. I know it's crazy.
I know. My kids are out there on their bikes taking their sweaters and jackets off because they're broiling at 66.
Oh my God! I'm looking for a pair of socks, for God's sake.
Well, you don't need socks when you're in Florida.
I know. Geez, but now I'm up here freezing to death.
You were talking about airlines. I used to do this joke where I said, I'm not really happy about flying anymore. I asked the flight attendant, how long does it take us to get to Houston? She goes, I don't know. We've never made it that far. And a flight attendant came up to me after the show and she goes, that's not funny. And I go, and I looked at her and I wasn't trying to get away from talking to her about this, but I just went, you're beautiful. It just came out. I said, you are absolutely gorgeous. I said, I swear to God, my hand to God, I'm not trying to hit on you. You are beautiful. And she goes, thank you. I go, does your husband ever tell you that? And she goes, he's not my husband. He's my boyfriend. I said, does your boyfriend ever tell you how beautiful? You're gorgeous. She goes, no, he never says that. I go, that's what you should be angry about. That's what you should be angry about. Okay. Not my little joke, but the fact that you're with a guy who doesn't appreciate how beautiful you are. That's what you should be pissed about. The fact that you work for a shit airline should never. No, I didn't say that. But I said that's what you should be upset about.
Sam, now you're the closest thing we have to a comedy historian.
Yes.
Or an archivist, but who did the joke? Somebody did a joke where they said, and then the pilot says, and we'll be landing 30 minutes early. No, we don't want to land 30 minutes early.
I don't know.
I can't remember what it was. Something about crashing into a mountain is landing early. I don't want to do that.
Yeah. I always wanted. They call that a hard landing.
A hard landing. There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway. I wanted to get, I paused everybody before we went on with our pre-show stuff because I wanted to talk about Bill Hillebrand. And I don't know, now, Sam, do you know Bill Hillebrand?
No.
Okay.
But that won't stop me.
Okay. Now, the news came out on Facebook that Bill passed away today. I had not heard that he was sick.
Comic?
What's that? He's a comic, yeah. He's... he had a pretty regular gig in Vegas and on the ships. So he wasn't really, he was known as a Detroit comic only because he based here. But he didn't work that much in Detroit. He worked mostly in Vegas, Atlantic City, and the ships. Because he had that kind of, hey, kind of coming at you, punching,
perfect for the ships.
Exactly. He was the type of guy. When you wanted to do a Broadway Danny Rose diner scene after your show,
yes.
If you want to do a Broadway Danny Rose diner bit after your show, just comics hanging out, you'd invite him. He'd be great for this show. I just could never get him to come on. Yeah. And I don't know if his illness had anything to do. I don't even know if he was ill. I just found out today he passed away. 62, I think.
Yeah,
he's our age. Yeah, or Andy and me. I mean, but Yeah,
Yeah,
was,
tell him, Kathy.
He's
Yeah.
pretty young.
Big.
Yeah, I thought
Baby.
he was older. I thought he was older.
Oh, did you? Oh, that's why he's gone. He didn't take care of himself. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I had not heard. I know his wife is a very frequent contributor to Ted Norke's wife and Bill Hildebrad's wife were both very close, and they were close to comics too. They often hosted parties and stuff like that. The Norke's would often host the 4th of July party, and the Hildebrandts would host other parties. So,
And now they're both widows.
and now they're both widows. Yeah, but they'll come to the picnics and the parties and all that stuff that we have. I mean, once
Sure,
you're
they're
in, you're,
cruising now.
yeah, once you're in, you're in. So.
Oh no, you can't exclude somebody. Although there was a comic in DC who you wouldn't know at all, but his wife was a miserable human being. Just he was the nicest guy, and she was death in heels, and he passed away, okay, of a heart attack, and everyone who knew him said she killed him. She stressed him, she did. There's no doubt in my mind. Had he been married to another woman, he'd be alive today. But anyway,
Wow.
when he died, a comic walked up to her at the funeral. I want to earmark that, at the funeral, and said, a lot of times when someone we care about passes away, this would be the time that we would approach his widow and say, don't ever feel like you're excluded now. You're always welcome,
Right.
but not you.
Not you.
He at the funeral, not
Oh,
you.
God.
And here's the thing. She didn't raise a ruckus about that. It was almost like she went, yeah, okay, I get it. I mean,
thank
it was,
God, yeah. I don't have to deal with you people ever again.
yeah, she hated us. And, she used
Yeah.
to say, I can't believe my husband is in such a worthless business. I said, I'm going to tell you what I think about that. Because I never raised a ruckus with her because I was scared of her. I thought she had a knife. I did.
Yeah.
But I said, I'm going to tell you something. If I was married to somebody and I didn't work, okay, I wouldn't complain about what he did for a living. I don't care if he sold glue. I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
You don't bring in any money. He does. And that's also what probably killed him. The stress of having to,
Yeah.
I always tell people, I'm living off the sweat of my frow. But this guy, I felt so bad for him. And somebody said, do you think he's enjoying heaven? And I said, you're talking to an atheist. I said, as far as I know, he's worm food. And he said, that's a terrible thing to say. I said, you're right. Happy food. Oh, by the way, real quick, did everybody here see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Is this the new? Is that the Tarantino?
No, that's the one with Brad Pitt
Brad Pitt?
about the Manson, Manson. Okay.
Manson murders. Yeah.
Do you remember when he feeds his dog? He opens up the can of dog food. It's called Wolf Tooth, and
Yeah.
it pours out like a turd. Remember it just out of the can?
Uh-huh.
I love that movie, and I watch it over and over again. Do you know that on one of the cans it says rat flavor,
Oh, God.
and it shows a rat? It shows a rat. Rat flavor.
Oh, God.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to tell you that if you've watched that movie, rat flavor.
Yeah. One more little story about Bill Hildebrandt. We did a couple of clubs. Who was the heavyset woman who was booking down in Ohio?
Oh, I know who. I can't think of her name, but
Sandy DePerna.
I think so, because she booked us twice, and each time me and Hildebrandt worked together, the club's closed. We were the last comics in there.
Oh, there's another woman that books out of.
And the last one we were in, they had we wondered why, because it was completely dark. There was no spotlight. They had one beer on tap. Old Milwaukee.
That's funny.
This is what's left. What's left.
It had no
before it's
alcohol
all-
except
yeah.
for the one beer on tap. You know, that
Oh,
was.
jeez.
Pennington.
Oh.
Pennington's another woman that books out of Ohio.
I can't remember. She was kind of.
Oh my God. She was friends with Keith Gisser, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I slept with her.
Oh no.
Do tell.
I just did.
He
On
just
purpose? I mean, on purpose or just,
Oh,
you know,
Oh,
the
what
same
do you
room?
mean? I was walking down the street and I fell into her vagina? No. No, though this is years ago. I mean, this is.
I hope so.
This was all right. It was Tuesday. Go to hell. No, it was like, God, like the early '90s. I mean, I don't like maybe the late '80s. Yeah. Pennington. I remember her. Cute girl.
I would
Bro.
hope so. You slept with her.
That never stopped me. You know, I told you about Steve. You remember Steve Seagren?
Yeah.
Okay. So Steve Seagren and I are working together, and he has this friend, this girl, who was a B girl at a bar. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the one who gets the guys to buy the shitty drinks.
Yeah. You told this story already.
Oh, okay. Then I won't tell it again.
I don't know if it was an after show story or if it was during the show, but you have told us this story.
No, where the one girl yelled at the other.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's one of my most vivid and wonderful memories in the history of comedy. Did you fuck him, Mary? Did you fuck him like the shitty whore that you are? Across the street. Across the street. It was lovely. Is everybody here double vaccinated?
I
Yeah.
am.
I am.
Yeah, I am.
Yep. Yep.
And my
Ready to roll, man. Ready to get back in the work. There we go.
I know it. I did a show last night.
oh, good.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
well, not really, but I had a microphone in my hand.
You had
So.
a microphone in your hand and you told jokes. Were there people in the audience?
It was a block party. It was outside.
Oh, you have balls the size of church bells.
Well, you know,
Oh.
I thought, well, it might be a good way to ease back in. Well, not only was it still in the daylight because it was 7:00, which I, still like, and there were children there.
Oh, wonderful.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah. So they know what the meaning of fuck is now.
Yeah.
yeah.
They didn't before.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that word? From the nice lady on stage. There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Who's that lady, Dad? And what does twat mean?
Yeah. Yeah. What is
No,
what
I
is
actually said F you. I didn't use fuck. And then I do have the joke about I love to cook, I love to clean, I love to swallow, and I love to do laundry. And I ran that by the owner or the hostess, and I said, I'm gonna do this joke. She said, oh yeah, the kids won't mind. I said,
Yeah, the
"Okay."
kids won't mind.
Yeah, they won't understand it. I said, "Okay,
The parents explaining it to them. They're the ones that
there you go.
Yeah,
I told you not to bring him. I told you not to bring him. But no. No.
Exactly. Next time we're paying a sitter. But
God,
it was kind of fun to have the mic in your hand and hear a few laughs. So
Well, I've got nobody calling me to come back. So it looks like I'm going to have to go looking for gigs if I want to work again. So
Have you ever been told after, let's say you do 2 shows in one night, okay?
yeah.
Have you ever been told after the first show you can't do certain material like that in the second show?
I have.
I have.
Told that, yeah.
When Bush was president, George W., I was playing at a place on Long Island called Greenport. And it's as far out, I'll tell you how far out it is on Long Island. You go to the end of Long Island, the end, and then make a right. And there's like a little 2-mile stretch, and that's Greenport.
yeah.
And I did some jokes about Bush, and this guy who looked like William Frawley, okay, Fred Mertz.
Mm-hmm.
Fred Mertz always did look continually pissed, but
Yeah.
this guy was like, rah, 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 you know. So his he gets up and he leaves, and he goes, You think you're an American? And I went, oh, why don't you just get balder? And the audience exploded laughing. I didn't think it was that good a joke, you know. And he was like a cartoon. You could see the steam coming off of him.
Oh, that's funny.
And so, in between shows, the manager of the restaurant, because there's no comedy club, it was a one-nighter, she says, don't do those kind of jokes anymore about George Bush. I went, why? Well, he's a very important person. I said, he's an important person in Greenport, New York.
Yeah.
I said, listen to yourself. He's an important person in a town of 800. I'm sorry, I'm doing my act.
Yeah.
And so this other guy said, you know, the other comic said, man, that was gutsy. I said, well, we had already gotten paid.
Yeah. What
You know, it's easy to be gutsy when you got the money in your pocket,
Exactly.
you know. But I could, you know, he's a very important, well, you know, he's an idiot. You know, that's what he is. You know,
Yeah.
you know, oh, he's the king of Greenport. Ooh, right. You know, he's the mayor of Ashtabula, Ohio. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
He might come here all the way to take away our funding. You know, it's like, really?
Yeah, he might give you a piece of his mind. Yeah. Then what will he have? Oh, God. Did you? By the way, there's a big ruckus about what Maxine Waters said, which was one of the dumbest.
Love it.
I thought it was the stupidest thing I ever heard her say.
What did she say?
No,
It's
not
like
telling
Jim-
him to shut up. Not telling him to shut up.
Oh, okay. Which one?
You don't know about this. She said that if Derek Chauvin is not found guilty, then people should get confrontative with other citizens about this.
Oh,
Ah.
okay.
It's an
Gee, Maxine,
incredibly reckless
Yeah.
and stupid thing to say.
Yeah.
you were doing so well telling Jim Jordan to shut his mouth. and
Oh
then-
no, that was the highlight of the year.
Yeah,
No,
that was
exactly.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but then she ruined it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's too bad.
You know, you can't tell people
No.
to get confrontative
No.
in this area. No.
That's
No.
the same thing we're
Yeah.
slamming Trump for on January 6th, and she does.
Yeah,
does
no,
the same
it
thing.
was stupid.
Yeah,
See, and there are people who don't like her, and this just gives them ammo.
exactly. Yeah.
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 I just got in right before the show. There hasn't been a verdict yet, has there? I would assume.
No,
No.
In one
Okay.
day,
nobody.
they're going to take 2 or 3 days, I think.
Yeah.
No, my
I-
window's
I think
intact.
honestly, if Chauvin could get off, if he had all Lyft drivers out there in his jury selection,
Why?
because Lyft drivers got, it's the same thing. The problems the Lyft drivers have. Could you get in the car? Just get in the car. Will you?
Ugh.
We're crying out. Get it. Lower your head. So
Very
it's too
funny.
it's too small. You should have ordered a van. It's on the app. It's on the freaking app. Okay.
That's very funny. That's very
That is funny.
It is good.
True.
If the verdict comes
And
back
true.
before noon tomorrow, he's guilty. If it takes,
I think it'll come back before. You know, do you
If it
remember how
takes a
long
long-
it took
if it
for
takes
the
a long
OJ?
what's that?
I'm sorry. Did you see how long it took for the OJ Simpson verdict? It was like
Yeah.
3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I right? About
Yeah.
3
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if it
nobody
comes
could
back
believe the
early,
jury
he's
was
guilty
back.
because they might, like, is he guilty? Yeah, we all think he's guilty. Listen, I don't want to go home tonight. We'll spend another night in the hotel and then we'll give him our verdict
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah, we don't pack our
Yeah.
bags.
Yeah.
Pack
No.
up our, yeah.
Yeah, now
we're
now,
seeing
they,
it.
now they're in the hotel. The bad food starts coming. So they
Yeah.
can everything's up. Everything's along.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
It's going to be all.
Excuse me, I ordered a hamburger. Yeah, it was delicious. Now shut up.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's a ham on cheese. Yeah.
Excuse me, is this the Coquille Saint Jacques scallops? Are you drunk? Look, bitch.
Where do they put up at the Radisson, or where they put up at some sort of like really the Best Western?
If they're,
Oh, I
I know Minneapolis pretty well. If they're where I think they are, I mean, if they're near the court, they're in a pretty nice place. It's like I think, in fact, isn't Minneapolis one of the hubs for Radisson? I think that's where they.
I think so. Yeah.
They started.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's a nice Radisson. I've stayed there before.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, as a rule, if you're on a jury that they think is going to be there longer than a week, they put you up in a nice place.
Yeah. I would
Yeah.
Because it has an effect on your decision making.
Right.
I don't mean like they gave me a lousy hotel. I'm going no, but it of your mood. You wake up in a nice place. There's a gym there.
Yeah.
Hot and cold running hookers. It's important.
How many women are on the jury?
Have they shown the jury?
I don't think they
No.
have. In fact,
Yeah, they're not allowed to.
they don't even tell. They had 14 in the box. They didn't even tell you who the two alternates were.
Can you imagine
The
the
judge
hell?
removed the ultimates before he sent them into the jury room.
By the way, he commented on what Maxine Waters said.
He
Oh,
did.
did he really?
He said
Oh.
this could result in a mistrial.
Oh shit.
Good Lord.
He said it was the most recklessly irresponsible. He said
Yeah.
for her to say, it is. I can't believe she said something that dumb.
The jury didn't hear her say it though, did they?
Doesn't matter. It's the public that hears it. It's encouraging people to be physically confrontative. Even if he's found guilty, it's
Yeah.
encouraging people to be confront. It's amazing. I'd censure her if I was Nancy Pelosi. She
Yeah.
won't, and
Yeah.
I understand why, but she should.
Yeah.
She won't because she's been a congressman for 30 years or something like that. So
At least no, that's
Yeah.
but I think the reason she won't is because you have enough racist assholes, in the Republican Party now. You don't need to make an example of a black woman. But I
Yeah.
would take her aside and I'd
Yeah.
say you can never say that was dumb, and it
Yeah.
was dumb, and you should apologize.
MTG has already said
Oh.
said she was introducing whatever the rule is to get her
To
kicked-
have her expelled from
get her
Congress.
expelled from Congress. Yeah. That'll go nowhere.
Yeah. No, please.
Hey, what about-
By the way, Mike Lindell is suing the computer company
Dominion.
for $1.6 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a better chance of seeing me in goal for the Red Wings.
Sam, you wouldn't be doing that bad,
Kick, save, and a beauty. Let me tell you, baby, that was my motto. Kick, save, and a beauty.
But shit, I forgot what I was going to say now. All right, back to the discussion.
All right.
All right. Well, yeah.
I don't know what I was going to ask you about. All the what do we got? 5 Republican senators now not running for re-election in 2022.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
They're giving us a little bit of an opening here, I think.
By the way, did you read the story about Matthew McConaughey?
Yes.
Wanting to run for governor?
He's 19 points ahead of the incumbent.
Oh, jeez. Oh,
Yeah, I'm not. You know what? Just because a celebrity won on the other side doesn't mean I want a celebrity on our side.
I want him as a governor.
No, he's not
Really?
my state. I guess so.
He's very smart.
Yeah.
He's
that's
a very smart guy. He's
Yeah.
a Texan. Okay. He
Yeah.
loves the state, and it won't be an ego trip for him. He'll really work. I think he'll really work. It won't be like Trump. Oh, I'm president now. Where's my neat shit I get? No,
Yeah.
he'll work, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
And by the way, he's by virtue of not being Greg Abbott, he's an improvement over Greg Abbott.
Well, true, but I mean, as bad as Greg Abbott is, I'd rather almost see McConaughey run against like Ted Cruz or.
Yeah.
I guess the other guy isn't
yeah.
running again, is he?
Well, who wanted to run for governor was Beto O'Rourke,
Yeah.
and I may be wrong about this, but I may be the only Democrat who doesn't. I don't think he will ever win an election.
No, I didn't. I'm doing my show.
Why?
All right.
He is because he looks weak.
Because I'm doing.
He
Oh,
looks
I'm
and
doing my
speaks weak. He does. He comes across to me as ineffectual, and I think his heart's in the right place, and I think he's a really
Yeah.
smart guy.
Yeah.
But he comes across to me as weak,
I
and
can't
Ted
stand the way
Cruz
he
will
holds
rip
the
his
microphone.
throat out. Huh?
Yeah.
I can't stand the way he holds the microphone.
Yeah,
holds it
well,
like a
and
raptor.
speaking in Spanish and all that other happy horse shit.
Yeah,
Just just stop that.
yeah,
I don't know whoever is advising him should give the money back.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, no, but he's ineffectual. He really is. I can't think of someone like that, but he doesn't move me.
Well,
He doesn't make
close.
me.
He didn't lose by much when he ran against Cruz.
No, he lost by 4 points.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, who's a celebrity? Who's the celebrity we're going to run in Michigan? We don't need one. We got all Democrats.
Dave Bing.
Dave Bing was our mayor,
He
although
was mayor.
How was he?
he was all right. He
was all right.
He was, he really wasn't connected, other than being a celebrity. You know what I mean?
And he was
do.
only there for one term, wasn't he? He didn't run again.
He ran for re-election.
Did he?
He did the term. He did the term after. He had the partial term after Kwame got kicked out.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And then he
Unfortunately,
ran for re-election. I got a key right here. And then
Could Kwame Kilpatrick? Could he get reelected?
Sure. That's everybody's biggest fear.
in Detroit,
Here,
here's the thing I like about Dugan. Dugan is in a 85 to 90% black city, was a white candidate, and was a write-in his first time he was elected, and then got reelected. He was a write-in.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was a write-in candidate. So these people, these Republicans in Michigan that run black guys all the time, thinking they're going to get the black votes, we had voters that the Republicans think are not smart enough to get to the polls by themselves.
Yeah.
Actually wrote in Dugan's name. And remember, they Kathy, you probably remember this. They had another guy named Dugan on the same ballot. Remember?
The barber.
To try to confuse everybody.
Yeah.
And he still won.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not even sure Kwame's in Detroit. I think he's down in Atlanta.
Well, he just got out of prison because Trump.
I mean, he's out of prison, but I don't think he's even staying. Most of the family has left Detroit, and last I heard, he was down with his mother and somewhere near Atlanta.
Yeah, they're probably better off down there anyway. He can probably.
If I was black, that's the city I would live in.
Atlanta.
It's the black capital of this country.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, little blue star in the middle of a sea of red.
Yeah, it's Atlanta. It's Atlanta and Athens, and that's it.
Yeah.
And Marjorie Taylor Greene's district is just northwest of there. So
yeah.
God,
I was in Memphis last week, and I got to tell you, that's a lovely city in spite of its history, but some of the things they're doing there it's just amazing. The bringing old neighborhoods back, and even things like there's kind of a main drag. It's almost, if you're familiar with Detroit, almost like a Gratiot type thing,
right?
And and it's not the prettiest street, but like the railroad trestles overhead, they build things on there, they had like a streetscape, and they had a park type thing, trees made out of wood, so when you looked up, it almost looked like a park setting. It was lovely. I mean, there's just lots of artistic endeavor in that city to make the bad spots look much better. And we went to this one cute little restaurant, and it's in kind of a shaky neighborhood, but there was a Lululemon pop-up on the corner.
Huh.
There's money here somewhere. It was a fun place to be and to see, but there's gobs of money in Memphis, that's for sure. Because
what was the name of that? What was the name of that comedy club in Memphis?
Sir Laughs.
Say again.
Sir Laughs a Lot.
And it was in a theater.
Yep.
I could not. I worked there, and then there was another club that was on President's Way, at the end of Memphis, and I played there, and it was fun. The audience was nice. It was Super Bowl Sunday. We were supposed to leave on Sunday, and the owner of the place said, "Listen, leave on Monday. I'm going to have a nice Super Bowl party, just my wife and me and our kids." His wife was from England, and a couple of friends, not a lot of people, but we'll have pizza and beer. And so I said, "Okay," and we did that, and it was fun. So he said, "Call me in 2 months, and I'll book you back. I like to do 8-month cycles." I said, "Okay." So I said, "All right." So I called him. I called the club.
Uh-huh.
And I said, "Hi, is David there?" "No, David's in jail." I said, "Well, when he gets out, would you leave him this message?" No, I didn't. I said, "Why is he in jail?" "Oh, and a woman, I love this answer. Oh, some tax bullshit." I said, "Yeah, ain't it the way? Ain't that the way?"
Yeah. Beats killing his wife.
Ridley had a partner that ended up in Leavenworth for tax problems.
Oh,
Really?
Can't think of the guy's name, but his wife, they ended up divorcing, but the guy's wife ended up working for Ridley for like 10 years after that.
It's funny. I interviewed, running the radio show, I interviewed a couple of people from the IRS, and they said that one of the biggest myths about the IRS is, "Oh, if I don't pay these taxes, I'm going to jail." And they went, we don't want you in jail. We want your money.
We want your money.
And we'll work out a payment plan. You don't have to have it all at once. So I said, then why do people wind up in jail for not paying their taxes? He goes, because they won't pay them. In other words, the people I'm talking about, he said, you tell them, "Listen, you owe this money." And they go, "I don't have it." "All right, we'll work out a payment plan." They get the payment plan, and then they start paying. They do. They pay. It takes them forever, but we get our money. The people in jail are going, "I'm not paying shit. No, screw you." No, they go to jail.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
got a neighbor who investigates IRA scams and frauds and stuff.
IRS, you mean?
That's what I meant. IRS, yeah. IRS. He's and I'm always suspecting. I'm always giving him tips on people that I run into that I think are scamming. I go, there's no way this guy's legit. I give him name of people I just want to get back at because
Yeah. Guy stole my joke. Call this guy.
Yeah. Well, just so you know, Mark,
the kid came in with high, sharp cleats when my son was playing catcher. That guy's dad got a call.
Yeah, he's going.
Ryan is not my real name, so don't bother turning
talking
in.
about? That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
What's your real name? Fatima Aliyah.
Yeah.
If you don't look it, I got to tell you, it's a great makeup job.
Yeah. The IRA. There we go.
So I was getting ready to cut my beard this week, and I decided, I'm going to I'm going to try to go full Santa this year. See if I can.
Yeah, you're halfway there. That's a good one.
Man.
Yeah,
I had a beard until
too,
today.
Oh, did you let it go?
I had to. I had an audition playing a doctor.
I saw that. You put that on.
For WebMD.
Yeah, that was pretty good. You did a good job. I thought you were diagnosing somebody.
Well, that was my daughter.
Tell her my note for her though is that her answers came too quickly, like they were rehearsed. I mean, nobody answers that way to the doctor.
If I told her that, I'm going to tell you what she would say to me.
Yeah.
How much did I get paid, Dad?
You get what you pay for.
Well, the Letterman used to always say that. Whenever people would boo his joke, he'd go, "Listen, before you get too upset, ask yourself, what did I pay to get in here?"
Exactly.
I think that his beard, I think it borders on ridiculous. It's just something.
Yeah.
I want to
terrible.
Every time I see him, I want a cough drop. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. No kidding. I guess his wife's okay with it. I mean,
keeps the other women away.
I mean, it's flagrant adultery. She got through flagrant adultery, so I guess this is nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks like John Brown there. It's like he's gonna,
He
Oh, no.
really does look like John Brown.
I don't know
He
who
went
they-
fly fishing with
right.
somebody, and he looked like homeless. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, he went fly fishing with one of the reporters. I can't think
Yeah.
of what's his name. Can't think of his name now. He's on MSNBC. Anyway, one of those guys.
George Stephan on MSNBC.
I think it's MSNBC. It's the young guy.
Chuck Todd.
No,
Yeah.
younger than that. What's his name? I hate that.
Does he have a regular show?
I don't remember. I'm bad with names. I'd need when I was a young kid, I was an intern with J.P. McCarthy, whom some of the people.
Kid.
All right, I was a high school student, but anyway.
You were in college.
Thanks. All right, my wife's here correcting everything I say.
You was a kid.
All right, when I was a kid. All right, look, I'm 61 years old now. I was 22 at the time. I was a kid.
To be married.
All right.
Wow.
The Bickersons.
Wow.
You gotta, ladies and gentlemen, John and Blanche Bickerson.
Oh, yeah.
God,
It's the
did I
law
love
firms
them.
all again. There we go.
Anyway, it was our job was to anytime the host of the radio show would hit the silence button to turn his mic off, he would ask us, "Find out the facts for me." In other words, he didn't want to go off blowing off some fact that he was just off the top of his head. He goes, "I think this is true. Find out before I say anything."
Oh,
And I was
God.
thinking, that is such a dinosaur. Nobody would do that now. They would just say
Yeah.
what they think, and it doesn't
Exactly.
matter if it's
And
true.
be done with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ari Melber.
No.
Yeah.
Who
I
is-
saw that segment. My problem with Letterman and his beard is that he comes across like a mountain man, you know, and you grew up in New York City, you know. I mean,
No, he's from Indianapolis.
well,
Yeah.
whatever. But I mean, yeah, but he lived in New York City for all those years, and that it doesn't jive with the persona there.
You know what's amazing? There was a story about him and Carson, and what they share in common, and I'll tell you why it surprised me, is stern, unloving mothers.
Yeah,
And the
Yeah.
reason it surprised me is he used to have his mother on the show.
yeah. Wasn't she in charge of the home office or whatever?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that, I mean, if she's such
Yeah.
a bitch,
Yeah,
he was in his 50s at the time. You're not winning her back now.
yeah.
Yeah. And do you notice how he retired after his mom passed away? Though it wasn't long after that he just kind of like ended the show.
I wonder, you think that had some impact on him?
I bet it did. She was a great
I
guest.
don't-
She was like after Larry Bud Melman passed away. She became the sort of like the untrained stooge,
But if
Yeah.
she was such a bitch, why? I don't get that. I just don't get that. I'm a cut bait kind of guy. If you're treating me like shit, I don't want to. Yeah.
Willie Geist is the guy he goes fly fishing with.
Oh, Willie
that's right.
Geist.
Yeah.
Okay.
He fly fishes with Willie Geist. So.
Yeah.
But I think that has more to do with they both like fly fishing rather than.
Yeah.
Are any of you
There you
Facebook
go.
friends with either Elaine
Yes.
Boozler or Merrill Marco?
Say again.
Are any of you guys Facebook friends with Elaine Boozler or Merrill Marco?
Worst,
Are you-
one of the 2 or 3 worst weekends of my life was with Elaine Boozler. She was so unhappy, and this is why I was really pissed. I actually quit in the middle of the gig.
Huh.
Because it was in DC. I was from DC. It was a Garvin's, the original Garvin's.
I know Garvin's. Yeah.
Right, on Connecticut Avenue. And they
That's
said,
right. Yeah.
and they said, we can't pay you because we're paying her so much. And I said, all right, I'll still do it. I didn't have a gig that weekend. She would show up. She was staying at the Shore, which was across 300 feet from the club. She would show up I'm not exaggerating, seconds before she was supposed to be on stage. I'm looking around. I don't see her.
Hmm.
And I said, do you really just show up before blah, blah, blah? She goes, that's right. And it's going to be that way every night. So get used to it. That was
Yeah.
my introduction to
Wow.
Elaine Boozler.
I think so.
Well,
Wow.
anyway, that's not why I brought it up.
So I
Yes,
shot her.
the first time I worked with her was in Charlotte, and she was exactly the same way. But we've become friends since then. But anyway, she and Meryl Marco are selling all of Meryl's late night memorabilia, all the swag she had from when she was the head writer on late night,
Uh-huh.
and it's for Elaine's rescue charity, animal rescue charity. Tales of Joy. I just wondered if you guys had noticed some of the stuff. Some of the stuff is pretty.
What's the slogan for her charity? Too mean to have kids?
No. Tales of
It's Tales of Joy, and
Alphabet.
Sam, the charity is. Yeah, you know,
She must have just had a bad week.
no, that's just the way she was back then. She's, hey, you know what? Joe Napoli was the same way to me when I was young, and now we're friends too. So, I mean, you can't go
I'll
by.
bet you. She wouldn't even remember she did this. She would not even remember it.
Probably not. She's a
But I'll
sweetheart.
tell you the thing that amazed me. She couldn't. There was a heckler. He wasn't a heckler. He was just kind of talking to her.
Mhm.
Like, oh yeah, that's right, kind of guy. He wasn't a heckler. It was just a kid. She couldn't handle it. She couldn't handle. I mean, I'm not saying eviscerate him, but she couldn't even look at him and like engage him and get him off the. She stopped and panicked and like was scratching her head, like it was terrible.
Well,
It wasn't.
my Garvin story. I was at the Monumental showcase where Bill Maher and Yakov Smirnoff were co-headliners.
Oh God. Oh my God. Talk about a polarity.
Yeah, I was. Sue and I were at that show back in '83.
Wow.
They were both so young. They were both under 30, and wow, it was.
I
Wow.
always
God, I've been in this
liked.
business a long time.
I always liked Yakov. I worked with him. He was the nicest guy. And he was very, very smart about the business. Very smart. He did that whole thing about, coming to this country and can't speak English and all that. And the truth was, he was a comedian on cruise ships on the Black Sea.
Oh.
And then he came here and he worked in the Catskills, with a lot of Borscht Belt comics, but he was a busboy. He went there to learn English.
Oh, great. I like
And
that.
then I'll tell you what he did. It showed a lot of integrity. He was working with me at the Richmond Comedy Club, and he was offered that weekend $3,000 for what? This is 1983. $3,000 for one night in Miami, because he was Jewish, and a lot of Russian Jews would just flock to see him.
Yeah.
And so he asked April Passarella, I will pay for the guy to replace me. And she goes, I can't do it. And she wasn't being a bitch. She said, I can't. People have specifically requested these seats because you're here.
Yeah.
She said, I'll spend all weekend refunding money. I can't do it. I'm sorry. And you know how many comics I know would have said up yours and left? And he didn't.
Wow.
I did. I was working in Richmond, and I was offered $5,000 for one night, and I found out the night before, and it wasn't her. I can't remember the name of the woman who took her place. Older woman in Richmond. She's retired now. But I told her, I said, I have to leave. But I was lucky because Eric Deskin was the middle. And Eric can certainly headline even then.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I said, I know you hate me. I know I'm never working here again. I can't turn down $5,000.
Yeah.
They flew me from Richmond to Miami. It was actually at this gorgeous Hyatt. Jesus, it was beautiful. And I did the gig, and then I came back, not to Richmond, but they flew me back home to was in New York.
Wow.
I couldn't turn down $5,000. I just
Yeah.
Wow.
I took an ass whipping from her, but I can't remember her name.
You had $5,000 to buy a lot of salve with, so.
Salve and Band-Aids, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Did you see our helicopter up in Mars today?
No.
Yeah, I saw it. Saw it
I was up. I was up this morning, and I can't remember. Our dog is probably in the last few months here, so
Aw.
she whimpers in the morning.
Is he dying? No, we hate him.
Yeah. She's she can't hear me. Can you hear me, Ruby? You can't hear me. She always thinks, for some reason, she's like 16 years old, and she always thinks that whenever I'm in the room, I have food that is much better than anything we put in her dish. She's always been that way, but it's
Is it true?
Yeah,
It is,
I was going to say it's probably true.
I always have food that's better. Well, when she was younger and we had little kids and we taught them this we used to have to put her dish on our dining room table and fill the food into her dish because she wouldn't eat anything unless it was off our table.
What kind of what breed?
She's a mix beagle and retriever.
Wow.
Anyway, so I was up early getting her, and so then I remembered that it was like it was going to be 5 a.m. or something like that. So I turned on the YouTube, the NASA YouTube channel, and it was kind of funny because you don't see the videos when you see it live. When you see it live, you're looking at all the nerds looking at the computer screen, and you got the one guy who's in charge of he was in charge of the data download. So he's not flying the thing. He didn't write the program to fly it. All he's in charge of is reading and interpreting whether it's good data coming back from Mars. And he's sitting there looking at the screen and he's going, okay. We got the sequence that shows that the rotators, it was rotating. Okay. We now have got the sequence that says that it actually left the ground. And you could hear people starting to murmur,
Yeah.
We got all right now. Now we just got the string of code that says that it hovered at 3 meters. All right, and now we've got the string of code that confirms that it descended back to Mars, and it's landed. We've had our first flight on Mars, and the place just erupted. And all he did was read like 8 lines of code that had come back from the.
Well, what I loved was, in the old space flights from, our days, when they had these people sitting behind these massive panels and massive screens, and, these people are all sitting, they're like 12 of them sitting around at a table looking at laptops.
Yeah.
What's the drama in that?
It looks like folded tables from the church basement. You know what
exactly.
I mean?
Exactly. It looked like, the high school.
A poor-man Starbucks.
Exactly.
It's the same. They're working the same computers that they play Minecraft on.
Exactly. Yeah, I thought, wait a minute, what happened to the
that's sad.
celebration? Yeah.
Well, if you look at SpaceX, you look at the SpaceX mission control. They're all you look at the mission control of the '60s, black ties, white shirts. They're in front of the screens. It looks very official. Look at the SpaceX. It's a bunch of guys in flannels, any kind of tuxes, Hulk shirts on. They're just walking around with their screens in their pockets or whatever.
Yeah.
Nobody's concerned whatsoever.
Even this crew today, I think they all had on T-shirts. They had on orange shirts.
They all had red T-shirts on.
Okay. Yeah.
That's their team color.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what that meant. My daughter, who works for Olga's Kitchen, just moved from hostess to trainer, and she changed the color of her shirt. I guess
Trainer or trainee?
What's that? Trainer.
Trainer or trainee?
No, she's a trainer now. She trains the trainees. So,
Oh, that's cool.
but anyway, she got a couple bucks more an hour. So now she's got to wear another color shirt. So
Ooh.
everybody understands. It's like the stripes you put on the guys in the army. You know, when
Yeah.
when they go from private to to
Ooh,
corporate.
she's wearing a blue shirt now. She's important.
Exactly.
She's better than us.
Yeah.
It's all Star Trek coordinated. It's all Star
Yeah.
Trek coordinated. You
There
know?
you go.
So my joke today was that I put on Facebook after the hovering space, the first spacecraft off of Earth was moments after the historic flight of the Mars spacecraft. The first Martian police chase ensued.
That's funny.
Because now they got a helicopter to cover it. So
I did.
here's what I didn't know. I knew that they were doing 2,500 RPM on these wings, but I didn't know on Earth a drone or a helicopter only does 300 to 500 RPM. So they have to do that many rotations because there's 99. It's 1/99th, I think, or 1% of the atmosphere on Mars that we have on Earth. And really, even though the gravity is a little bit less, it's not quite the moon, but it's not quite Earth either. So, like our 100 pounds would be like 80 pounds there. So even though you still got the same weight on Earth, there's no atmosphere to push up on. When we rotate a drone on Earth, we're pushing on the air that is thick compared to the atmosphere they have on Mars.
Yeah.
So they really got to get these things going at 2,500 RPM.
How
Yeah, so
long does it take for us to fly to Mars from Earth?
It took 8 months.
8 months?
Yeah, and I think they said it takes 8
10
minutes.
minutes?
8 minutes for the broadcasting back. Plus, whenever they do anything like that, all this stuff has to be you can't say do this and then have it do it and then send it back. All this stuff had to be planned out before it got there, because our side of the planet, to get the radio waves from Mars, we're rotating at a different rate than they're rotating. Their day is actually 23 minutes longer than ours. So we rotate just a little bit faster. So like for half of the year, our day is their night and their night is our day. And then we're on different sides of the sun at different times. And it takes them a long time to get around the sun.
Yeah.
But their planet rotates 24 hours and 23 minutes. So it's a similar rotation anyway.
It's a great place to live if you don't want to see family. Listen, I'd like to come see you.
Yeah.
I just don't have 8 months to put aside. I just,
Yeah.
it takes forever.
I only
The
get
traffic
seven-
is shit.
I only get
Travel
7 months
terrible.
vacation a year. So
Yeah, I'd love to. Why don't you guys come up here? Oh,
Yeah.
you can't afford it? Bye.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe next year.
I
Yeah.
tell you what, they're so far away from having anybody colonize any other planet. And I don't know why you would want to do that. I mean, first of all, I would think that they would have to think seriously about whether somebody could get pregnant and give birth there, because so much of what happens in the development of the fetus has to do with gravity. It has to do with
Mhm.
you know what I mean. Somebody's and if you have a baby that develops in less than the gravity that we have, that could be problems, because our bodies, evolution-wise or creation, take your pick, either way, was created for this Earth and this atmosphere. So
Yeah.
I can't see us
a
living.
lot
any
of cesareans. There we go. It's like-
But have your science fiction. Go ahead.
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah. No thanks.
you remember they used to have these like little book, like a TV guide sized booklet of science fiction stories.
I remember those.
And-
I love
yeah.
those when I was a kid. Yeah.
And I remember the day I stopped reading them, because the opening sentence was, when Landor arrived at the third ring of Saturn and said, "My home will be," I just said, "No, it's enough. No,
Yeah.
no, you can't. No, the rings of Saturn are ammonia and ice and you'll die. So stop.
Yeah.
Just stop. And by the way, we all know somebody who, if given the choice to live on Mars now or stay on this planet, would go to Mars. We all know somebody.
True.
I do.
I'm hoping
Yep.
it's somebody that I won't name names.
No,
Please,
not
feel-
somebody I want to conk on the head and drop off there.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But then they'd stop calling it Mars. It would be Trumpsylvania.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mark, are you supposed to leave?
Aren't you supposed to pick up your daughter?
My wife
Mark?
went and got her.
Oh, okay. All right.
Ah, there you
My
go.
wife went and got her.
Okay.
See, that's
Well,
command. Learn how to delegate
She called
authority.
me. She called me at 8:30 and was screaming at me. Didn't you get my text? Didn't you get my text? And so I got my wife to go there.
Your wife
And
or your
then
daughter?
after my daughter is screaming at me on the phone. Didn't you get my text? Didn't you get my text? I said, no, I didn't. I go, I'll see if your mom can come. And so she went and got her. And then when I had a chance, I checked the text. She called 2 minutes after she sent the text. I go, I'm not going to get a text in 2 minutes, even if,
Yeah.
like, these kids, they think that we're all sitting there waiting for their texts all the time.
Well, they pay much more attention to that. My daughter the other night texted me and said, "Could you pick up some Rice? Those Rice Krispies candy things."
Yeah.
Yeah, she said, "Could you pick those up for me?" I never saw that.
Because yeah, and even if I
would've
saw
gotten
that,
it, I
and
never
that's
saw
not
it.
something you ask your diabetic. Yeah, that's something I tell them. Don't ask your diabetic dad to get anything like that. So, there will be nothing.
Well, my granddaughter the other day, she was doing some stuff with her insurance, and I kind of got involved in it I said they'll be sending you a letter. Just watch for the letter. And a couple days went by. I said, "Did you get it?" They said they sent it, in an email. And she said, "No, you said to watch for a letter." I kept checking the mailbox. I said, check your email on occasion. They never check email because no one.
No, email to them. Email to them is like mail, USPS to us.
Exactly. Yeah. And she never checked that either. Yeah.
They never look at email.
Yeah. And because they have to go to the mailbox at the road if they're going to ever get any mail. And since nobody sends them mail, why bother to do that? And, oh, good Lord. Check your email.
Well, they're commies.
Yeah.
That's all. They're just they're godless communists.
There you go. Absolutely.
Godless communism,
Well,
Mr. Greenfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I got 7 adult kids now,
So how do the
That's
kids
forward to getting rid of
communicate?
this last one.
How many
do the
are
kids
still at
My
home?
kids,
There's just text.
all of them are at home. Well, my 2 oldest live in Los Angeles. They're on their own.
Yeah.
And the next 3 have not completed their college, so they're living in a condo we have over by Schoolcraft, over by the mall where my daughter works.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I got 2 that are seniors. I got 2 that are seniors in high school, and 1 that's an 8th grader. And
Oh, geez.
Cass is moving out May 1st.
Oh, where's she moving? Is she staying in New York?
She's staying in New York. She has 3 roommates. It's 4 people. And it's not far. It's at First Avenue and 22nd Street. And it's not far from where we are now. And I think my wife is going to cry for about 3 days. But the way I look at it is, I love my daughter to pieces. But it's, she's 22.
Yeah.
I'm listen, if I have a choice between her moving out or saying, "Oh, Dad, I always want to live with you guys." No. You don't want that from your kid.
Yeah.
No.
We don't want to live with you. There's the problem.
Well, no, she well, what's funny about it? I said, Mom and I may sell this place. And she goes, "You will not sell my birthplace." And I said, first of all, this wasn't your first place you lived in New York. It wasn't the second place you lived in New York. It was the third. She goes, yeah, but I lived there for 20 years. So it counts as my birthplace.
Oh, geez.
So I thought, okay, I will not win this argument. I will stop.
Yeah.
That's
I
funny
will
about
not.
my two oldest, the ones that live in Los Angeles, have no connection to this house whatsoever. But the others see this as their birth house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking, hey, you want to be on my stream show
For 5 seconds.
for 5 seconds? Okay, my daughter's coming. Here's Julian. Here's my new adult.
Hi.
There you go. Congratulations.
Hey.
Hey, congratulations. Could you do me a favor and move a little to your left because your face is being blocked? There you go.
Hi.
There you go.
Hi.
That's
Your
my
face
beauty.
is being blocked by the timekeep thing, so I couldn't.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Sophia's,
There you go.
Your gum smells good. Can I have some?
yeah, you can have some. Yeah, she's here for the gum.
Ah,
God, it sounds like loose teeth.
Yeah, doesn't it? It's the juicy fruit wrapper.
Ah,
oh, juicy fruit.
Say bye-bye.
Bye. You work tomorrow?
Bye.
What time do you work tomorrow?
4.
Over at Bush's?
Yep.
Okay. She's doing what I used to do at that age. She's got 2 jobs.
That's good. Now, was this the one who just was picked up from work and
Was
she's
picked
working
up
at
from-
Bush's then tomorrow? Wow.
She works at H. What's the name of the place you work at? The mall.
H&M.
She works at H&M.
Oh, okay.
And then tomorrow she works at Bush's, the grocery store.
Wow.
Oh.
So, yeah, they
That's
can't
good.
get people to work around here.
Yeah. I know
Yeah.
you see the help wanted signs all over the place.
Yeah, people are. I'm on our local Facebook community page. People complaining about it all the time. It's so funny how that's become political too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people don't want to die.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah.
As
People-
soon as they
people-
get their
people-
vaccines, they'll fill those orders. You know, it's just
people say
Yeah,
people
the
say
whole
that
thing.
people say that people aren't working because they don't want to die. Well, those are the Democrats. The Republicans will tell you they don't want to work because they're getting too much for the unemployment.
oh yeah,
To which the people that
Yeah.
collect unemployment go, "You try living on unemployment, and then you come back and you tell us that we're not working because we want to live on unemployment, you asshole."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's something wrong
Yeah.
with the system that pays you more in unemployment than it does in a salary.
exactly.
I beg to differ. I love that system.
Yeah,
What? That pays you more? Oh, no. Yeah. Yeah.
paying you
Exactly.
more
Yeah.
not to work. Yeah,
Yes, I think it's just spiffy. I love
Yeah.
it.
yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. I've had unemployment. I've collected unemployment before. It's hard for me to do it though because I'm a comic.
Well, this is the first time I've ever collected it, and as a waiter, they asked me how much I made, and I said, should I tell them 11,000 a week? No, no, they'll never. So I told. So you know what I did? I looked it up. What does the average waiter in New York City make? And then I subdivided it by 52,
There you go.
and that's the answer I gave.
Yeah.
But see, that's everything from a diner to La Bernardin.
Yeah.
La Bernardin is this fish. It's a restaurant, seafood. It's not seafood but it's a fish house restaurant, and it is eye-poppingly expensive.
Yeah.
Now, you were in
And-
tables right up until the pandemic.
Yes,
So, did you get any of those bonus checks that my kid got?
yes.
Oh man, my son has like $15,000 saved now, above and beyond what he.
Yes, I've
He was
got
saying.
I have saved what I call my, oh, you don't like my attitude? Well, I'm moving. Fuck you. Which and I figured that I could live away from here for at least a month and a half before I come back crawling, saying I was a fool. Can you
Yeah.
forgive me? Just could you find your heart? But it's they allow you now to make up to $504
Oh,
in addition to the unemployment.
Oh.
So
That's
that's
cool.
perfect for a waiter. I
is.
would tell my boss, give me 3 shifts a week, and I'm in heaven.
Yeah.
yeah. My youngest son, who's now my 20-year-old, he works for a restaurant, and they didn't lay him off, but they said, we can get your hours down so you can still collect the unemployment, and we'll get it down enough so you can get the $600 a week or whatever they were paying from the federal.
Right.
They were working people enough so that they could still collect but not enough so that they could collect more. So
Well, that's a great boss right there.
he was a great boss. In fact, that boss just left. And so now he's thinking of getting a different job because it's not as good with the new boss.
I had a boss at the place I worked, and he's still in the system. They have 7 restaurants. This kosher deli, 7 restaurants around New York City, or actually on Long Island. And if I come back to Ben's kosher deli, if I come back and he's there, I won't work there. I would never, ever, ever work. I don't even know. Whoever the second worst was the best boss ever. I've never worked with a bigger prick in my life. Would sit on his ass and text while everyone else is working. Drop the N word and said, I never use that word. And I went,
wow.
Excuse me, I've been in your car. I've heard the music you listen to. Every other word of the music you listen to is the N word. Every other word. And the biggest joke about him is everybody who's worked with him thinks he's gay, and he denies it. Okay. He was engaged to this really good-looking woman, and then they weren't engaged. And I said, I can't think, and I met her. She was very nice. I said, I can't think of a reason for you not to be with her other than the fact that she has a vagina. That's the only roadblock to you. That's all that's all I can think of. But
your next book is 10 Easy Steps for Getting Fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got that down to 8.
Oh, no. Okay.
I've got down that, chapter 1, fuck me. No, fuck you. Chapter 2.
I like that one.
Yeah. Chapter 2. Do I look like the kind of guy who would steal money? Chapter 3. Yeah, I called that customer a bitch. Have you met her? Chapter 4. Oh, that's your wife. Chapter 5.
I have two. I have 2 getting fired stories. One was when I worked at McDonald's the summer between my senior year in high school and my freshman year in college. They had told us that this is the fish vat and this is the fry vat. At the end of the night, and because I was 18, I was closing the place because most of the kids were like 16, 17, they were minors still. So those of us that were 18 and older were closers. And they go, whatever you do not mix the fish vat with the fry vat because it'll just ruin the entire
batch of fish.
Exactly. And what you did was you put it through a filter and you just put it back in. All you were doing was cleaning out the waste and the things that had burned and the food and all that stuff. And it was like a filtration system. But you were very careful not to mix them. And they say if you ever do mix it, you'll be fired on the spot. So I go to quit, and they go, you need to give us 2 weeks notice. I go, what do you mean? They go, well, you can't just quit. You got to give us 2 weeks notice. So that night I mixed the fish vat and the
God.
And I got my check the next morning. So
do you know a place in Detroit named Charlie's Crab?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Famous place.
Okay. I worked at Charlie's Crab in DC.
Oh, okay.
And I lasted, of my own volition, 4 days.
Yeah.
First of all, they only gave you 3 tables.
Wow.
So the odds to you making any money, even though fish is more expensive, was ridiculously low. Okay, that was number 1. Number 2, the employee meal every day was a piece of well-steamed bread and a bowl of chowder every day.
Oh, never changed?
No. And I said to the boss, I said, soup, water, and bread is what you get at DC jail. And then, this is when I saw that this was going to be the meal every day, I knew my time there was limited.
Yeah.
Because that's such a shitty thing to do. I understand we're not going to, be getting the lobster. I appreciate that. Like if you work at a nice restaurant, you're not going to get the steak. I understand that. Okay, I do. But not every day soup and bread. Jesus. And so one day this guy comes in and he's Italian looking and he's got brush cut, like an older guy would have, steel gray hair.
Right.
And I said, "Who is that?" And they said, in hushed tones, by the way, "He's the head chef for all of the Charlie's Crabs." Well, that's how they said it.
Mm.
I said, "Why are you whispering? Do we have to pray?" And he goes, "No, but he's a very big deal." I go, "He's a cook." Okay.
In other words, he's
But-
a cook. Yeah.
Yeah, let's calm down, okay? He cooks food. Don't, I understand he's good at it, but calm down. He didn't remove a tumor from my aunt. It's okay. So I walk up and I go, "Hi, how are you?" And he goes, "I'm fine. What's your name?" That's how I talk.
Yeah.
And I said, my name is Sam. He goes, "Don't you have a last name?" And I went, "Oh, this guy's an idiot." So I went, "Yes, it's Sam Greenfield." He goes, "I'm Chef Larry." I said, "Is Chef your first name?"
Oh,
And he goes, and he gives me a look like, "You're not long for here." That was the look. But he goes, "I'll repeat myself. I'm Chef Larry." And I go, "Do you work with Chef Mo?"
No!
And that was
Did you ever meet Chuck Muir, the guy who owned Charlie's Crab?
no.
Because Chuck Muir had the curly hair, so it would have been
Oh,
perfect.
Chuck Muir. Yeah, I remember the name.
Yeah, Chuck Muir
Chuck
had.
Muir's Charlie's Crab. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had the curly hair, and he always wore that bow tie. He looked like a stooge,
And that was the other thing. We had to wear bow ties, and they couldn't be clip-ons. We had to tie the bow tie.
yeah, that's Charlie.
Wow.
That was Charlie. Yep.
Yeah,
Anyway,
so
The story.
So
in
I-
the
go
story.
ahead,
in
I'm sorry.
Detroit, the story in Detroit is. Oh, were you done? I'm sorry. I was
no, just real quick. So one day I made $58. This is 1984. That was a huge amount of money to make there at lunch because no one made any money.
Yeah.
So I'm getting dressed down in the locker area, and I said to one of the other waiters, I said, "I can't believe it. I had a great day today." And he said, "What did you make?" I said, "I don't like to say what I made. It's, he said, "I'm not going to tell." I said, it was almost $60. It was just a great, he said, "Wow, that is great." The next day, the manager calls me into his office and he goes, "Sam, I make $50,000 a year, but I don't tell anyone." I went, "You just told me. You just told me." He goes, "Well, the point is that you told Stephen the other day how much you made." I went, "Well, how would you know that?" He goes, "Well, I was around the corner." I said, "You were eavesdropping." And the only thing I could think of was that line in Woody Allen's movie Crimes and Misdemeanors when he does the expose film on Alan Alda. And he
Yeah.
goes, "Well, I was lurking." And so I thought, they spy on you in your locker room. So the next day I walked up to the assistant manager and I said, "I'm leaving. I won't, I'm not coming in today. I don't want to work here." He goes, "But we'll be short a man." I go, "You'll be fine. I'm
Yeah.
leaving. I'm not going to work. I'm not going to work." And I left. I got another job. It was,
Yeah.
it was terrible. I'm sorry. What were you going to say?
Oh, and just the Muirs in Detroit. I mean, it's a big name, and Joe Muirs is still around, isn't it, Kathy?
No, that closed a long time ago.
Oh, did it? Well, anyway, Joe Muir was the one of the premier restaurants. It was in the Eastern Market, and Chuck Muir was his brother, and they were completely opposite. Chuck Muir was all about razzmatazz and bedazzling, and he had all these restaurants, and he was in the commercials, and he was everything was a big Chuck Muir's Merriweather's, Chuck Muir's Gandy Dancer, Chuck Muir's Charlie's Crab.
Gandy Dancer. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
one of the
in
names
Ann
of-
Arbor. Yeah.
Yep. And so, and they were all over the place. I mean, there were just tons of Chuck Muir restaurants. And obviously, if they're in DC too. And Joe Muir just had that one place.
Yep.
And
they were lined up out the door.
Yep. And for Joe Muir's, they were lined up the
Yep.
and
What
Chuck
was the
Muir-
cuisine?
Chuck Muir's.
Fish. It was a fish place.
Yep.
Seafood.
They had some good steaks. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was primarily seafood.
Yep.
And a wedge
I
salad.
think it was a lobster on their logo, wasn't it? On their sign on the door, they had a cartoon lobster or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, Chuck Muir met his demise. He was a sailor. He had a boat here, as many people in Michigan do because of all the Great Lakes and everything. But then he went down and took it to. He sailed it down to Florida, and was out too far off the coast and never came back.
Wow.
With his wife and another couple from Grosse Pointe. Yeah.
Yep. And they ran out too far and the weather got rough.
They were out in that horrible storm. I don't know if anybody remembers that. And it hit the south and then went out into the water. And they were lost kind of almost in the Bermuda Triangle to make, add even more mystery to it.
Oh.
But they were lost in that storm. And then that horrible storm that hit. There were the kids from Cranbrook were on a camping expedition in
North Carolina. I remember that.
Yeah, and that was all tied into that. They those kids almost froze to death. It was awful.
I remember that. That was in they were in the Appalachians.
I had friends whose kids were on that trip, and it was a nightmare.
Wow, that was a bad storm.
Yeah.
I never remember that. I never remember that it was the same storm. That was a bad one.
Yeah.
Was that Hurricane Andrew? Is that the one I'm thinking of?
Was it actually a hurricane? Because the kids in North Carolina froze to death because of the snow. All of a sudden, a foot of snow dropped on almost like a May day, and they didn't have shoes or boots or anything. And
yeah, because it was 80 when they started.
Exactly. Yeah. It was just awful. They couldn't locate them. It was frightening.
I have to run, but I just want to tell you, I just tuned on Fox News.
Oh,
and it's breaking news. Hannity has an exclusive interview with Trump.
Oh,
really? How do you get that?
Yeah, wow.
And I say this with all seriousness. Trump's hair has never looked worse.
What did he do to it? What did he do to his hair?
It just looks. It's flatter. There's no. He said that the Republicans better be careful if they don't follow the MAGA agenda.
Yeah.
Not one of these guys tells him go fuck yourself. Not one. Not one.
No, wait a minute. What about that guy from? Isn't there a guy from Illinois?
Kissinger. But he's not he's not big news.
Yeah.
No big name. They tried to hang people he sent to the Capitol tried to hang Mike Pence, and he won't talk against him.
Exactly. Mike Pence had a pacemaker put in last week. I don't know if anybody heard that news.
I heard about that.
Because there wasn't anything there to begin with.
Yeah, exactly. Lindsey Graham still, Trump says.
I would vote for Mike Pence. I will swear to do this if this happens. I will vote for Mike Pence if he shoots Trump on Fifth Avenue.
Okay, I'm in. I'll go with you.
If he shoots Trump on Fifth Avenue, I will vote for him.
He could do it on 6th Avenue, and I'd still vote for him.
No, I wanted to be on 5th just because that's what Trump said. He could shoot somebody.
Yeah, I could shoot somebody on 5th Avenue. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So think about that. Do you remember the Gordon Liddy passed away?
Yeah, 90 years old.
99, yeah.
Yeah.
I met him on several occasions because he had a radio show. One of his sons, is like 6'6", and I was at a round table with him, and he was sitting next to me, and his breath was horrible, and because he was so tall and I'm so short, I was getting all of it.
It was dropping.
All of it. And so I said to him, I looked at him and he's talking about, the New York Times sucks and blah, blah. I said, can I ask you a question? I said, did your father ever whip your ass? He goes, excuse me? I said, you didn't do your homework. You gave mom a hard time. Did your father ever just beat the living hell out of you? And he goes, no. I go, oh, okay. He goes, why would you ask that? I go, because you look like the kind of guy whose father would whip his ass. You look like you didn't contribute to the household.
Ah,
And everyone else is laughing their heads off, and he doesn't get it. I
wow.
said, did your father ever make you hold your hand over a candle,
Candle.
or eat a rat?
Yeah, exactly.
Anything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
No.
actually came.
All right.
He came to the college, and I asked him about, do you actually eat rat at home?
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, he
He-
married his wife. He said because she had childbearing thighs.
Oh, I've heard that before. I've heard
yeah,
And-
giant Terry's eyes. It's always like
that.
everything was pronounced.
That sounds like an old farmer's phrase or something.
Yeah,
I've heard that.
exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
the first
She
time I
has
heard that
childbearing
phrase,
hips or something like that.
the first time I heard that phrase was in the movie Cleopatra, when she's in bed with Rex Harrison, and she says, "My thighs are ready to bear children," and I went, "I don't think that's where they come out." Maybe I'm wrong. I think. I hate to go back. I don't like to do callbacks, but once again, the vagina, I believe,
Yeah.
might. If they're coming out of your thighs, you should be in a carnival. Okay.
Yeah.
Slide me
Oh, yeah.
some thighs, sugar.
Yeah, I banged the hell out of her thigh. Well,
They
yeah,
don't call her
Soon
thunder
must be.
thighs for nothing.
yeah, thunder thighs. Oh God!
Undersized.
All right, kids, take care. Everybody, stay well.
Thanks, Sam. You too.
See you guys next week. Hey, invite friends too. We
I
got.
think we should invite Eric Deskin.
You've got to remind me who that is again.
He's a he's a terrific comedian.
All right, send me his contact information, and we'll get him on next week.
All right, I will.
All right, thanks.
Take care, guys. Stay
All right,
well.
bye.
Okay, good night, Sam. I'm
Good
gonna
night.
run too.
Good night,
All right,
good night,
bye.
guys.
All right,
Bye. Good night, guys. See you next
see you
week.
next week. Yep.
All right.